Here's a picture of the team there on December 13th at Virgil Ortiz's fight in Indio, California. And then here's a picture of Mike. I believe this is Mikey's last fight there versus Jesse Vargas in Frisco, Texas. Hey, what's up everybody? Just wanted to do a video with all the current news and updates on RGBA in Riverside. Here we have Louie Coria, 12-2-0. He's from Moreno Valley. He's scheduled to fight this Thursday, June 11th at the MGM in Las Vegas versus Adam Blue Nose Lopez. Adam Lopez is now, I believe he's 3-2. I don't think he was a late fill-in for Oscar Valdez. Adam Lopez was, and even knocked down Valdez once in the early rounds, but then Oscar Valdez was able to come back and stop him. So Louie Coria, a featherweight, has been with RGBA for his last 7 fights. I think he was 5-0 when he made the transition from Indio to Riverside. At King Louie 416 if you want to follow him on Instagram. And then 2 weeks from now, Joshua El Profesor Franco, 16-1-2. He's going to be fighting for a world title versus Andrew Maloney of Top Rank. He's a fighter that has been with Robert since 2015, since his pro debut, and he is promoted by Golden Boy Promotions. He has been doing some of his strength and conditioning with Nate Areola, and you can follow him at Professor Franco on Instagram. He pro debuted at 115, then fought the majority of his pro career at 118, and now he's back down to 115 super flyweight. There you see him versus his last opponent, Burgos, in the picture, in his fight in San Antonio last August. Here's a picture of him with his family. To his left is Bam Rodriguez, who's 11-0. He is fights at 112. I think he's at 112 now. He's been fighting the majority of his career at 108. So there you start with Bam, and then Joshua Franco, and then the father of the family, Jesse Rodriguez, in the middle, and then 2 more brothers, one with the LA blue hat, and then another brother to the far right, and it looks like it's their nephews there on the bottom. So he's going to be on ESPN versus Andrew Maloney of Top Rank, so Golden Boy versus Top Rank for a world title fight. At Professor Franco if you want to follow him on Instagram. Virgil Ortiz, 15-0, 15 knockouts. He was scheduled to fight Sammy Vargas. We don't know if that opponent is still an opponent currently. Yesterday was his first day back in California after being almost 3 months back home in Grand Prairie, Texas. It sounds like he helped Franco with a few rounds of sparring, and Hector Tejada as well. If you want to follow Virgil, you can follow him at Virgil Ortiz on Instagram. He's also very active on Twitter. Ray Danger Muratalla has been seen in the gym. He's a local fighter from Fontana. He just recently got signed to Top Rank. He's 9-0 with 6 knockouts. His younger brother, Gabriel, who's a super bantamweight, 122, has been sparring Joshua Franco and other fighters because he's going to be on the undercard of Louie's fight. So Gabriel Muratalla, I think he's only 2-0. And he fights at bantamweight, the younger brother of Ray Danger Muratalla. At Ray_Muratalla 1 if you want to follow him on Instagram. Bryan Lua, 5-0 from the Central Valley. He's back in the gym in Riverside. At Bryan__Lua if you want to follow him. He's there in the camouflage. He had several fights with Ryan Garcia in the amateurs, and he had some wins over Ryan. Ryan clearly is either 19-0 or 20-0, and Bryan has suffered some, I believe, some hand injuries, and that has kept him out of the ring. So he's back in training, a very talented fighter. At Bryan__Lua if you want to follow him. He's from the Central Valley RGBA. Also in the gym, Alexis El Macizo Espino, 6-0. He's promoted by Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing. He fights at 160. His last fight, I believe, was at 165. So he's fought in Las Vegas. He's fought in Hermosillo, Mexico. He's fought on the East Coast. His last fight, I think he even fought in Miami. before the Super Bowl. So Alexis El Macizo Espino from Las Vegas. You can follow him at _ Alexis Espino 1, a middleweight promoted by Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing, and he is co-managed with his mom and with Robert as a RGBA fighter. Leo Ruiz, he fought on the undercard of Mikey Garcia versus Jesse Vargas. I believe he's a free agent. He's a local fighter there from San Bernardino. Fights at 154, might be fighting at 160. At _ Leo Ruiz if you want to follow him on Instagram. One of the newest additions to the team. Genaro El Conde Gamez, 9-1, 6 knockouts. He's from San Diego, very talented fighter. He was in Riverside training for the last 3 weeks. He has not been seen in the gym this week. At Genaro Gamez on Instagram if you want to follow him. He fights at 135. And he was promoted by Golden Boy Promotions. I don't know if he's with Oscar De La Hoya anymore. Jose Ramirez, 25-0, 17 knockouts. Rick Meridian, his manager, said that he's negotiating with two. He's pitching his spiel for a fight to hold the venue, to host the event for Jose Ramirez versus Victor Postol. This is a title defense for Jose Ramirez, as he holds 2 titles at the 140 division, junior welterweight or super lightweight, whichever way you prefer to say it. At JC Ramirez 2012 on Instagram if you want to follow him. Carlos Mexicanito Licona, 15-1. He is promoted by Jose Pepe Gomez Cancun Promotions. He is staying active in the gym there in Orange County. At Mexicanito 12 if you want to follow him on Instagram. He is one of the last champions to be crowned as an RGBA fighter. He got a title at 105. It sounds like he's making the move to 108, possibly even up to 112. He's in his early 20s, so his body is still developing. Hector Tejada Jr., 19-0, 5 knockouts. He's the current WBC youth champion at 135. He's promoted by Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions. His last fight, I believe, was in August there in San Antonio. At Hector _ Tejada if you want to follow him. There's a little bit of Twitter action going on between him and Ryan Garcia, trying to land a fight. Ryan was saying that as much as he wants to fight, doesn't look like the July 4th is going to be a date where he's going to be able to fight this year. But Hector responded by saying, "I'm ready, sign the contract, and we can make the July 4th date happen." So Hector Tejada has been in the gym for, I think he's been back in Riverside the last couple weeks, maybe possibly even 3 weeks. And he spars tons with everybody. Since he's 135, he can spar the 126s and the 118s. And then at 135, he can also spar the 140s and the 147s. So Hector Tejada getting tons of sparring with world champions like Mikey Garcia and Jose Ramirez, and fighting tons of prospects like Joshua Franco and Louie Coria. So Hector Tejada from San Antonio also turned pro in 2015 with Josh and with Jonathan Navarro. At Hector _ Tejada if you want to follow him on Instagram. Mikey Garcia, 40-1, 30 knockouts. He just did, like I just mentioned, he did some rounds with Tejada. And you can follow him at Team Mikey Garcia on Instagram. Saul Neno Rodriguez improved to 24-1-1. He won his last fight in February on the night before Mikey fought Jesse Vargas there at the Southern Junction nightclub in Irving. You can follow him at Team _ Neno. Eric De Leon, 19-0-1. He's a top-ranked promoted fighter. Stays in shape year round. You can follow him at Team De Leon 1. We don't have a potential date for him as of yet. Jonathan Thunder Navarro, 17-0, 9 knockouts. He's been staying active. He's doing work with his strength and conditioning coach, Nate Arreola. You can follow Nate at I am Nate Arreola on Instagram. You can follow Jonathan Thunder Navarro at Thunder Navarro on Instagram. He is the fighter that turned pro along with Josh. There you see him in the picture with Josh to his right, and Hector Tejada in 2015 with Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions. Josecito Lopez has been seen in the gym. He helps fighters stay active. So we don't know what's next for him, but he had a great performance against John Molina, which guaranteed him a good solid payday from the PBC brand. and he stays active fighting the 147 pounders, even fights Alexis Espino and some of the middleweights. So at Jose Lopez if you want to follow him on Instagram. Esquiva Falcao, 26-0. His fight was in February 29th in Brazil. Chepe Contreras, one of the trainers, was out there with them. At Esquiva Falcao, if you want to follow him on Instagram, he is with Top Rank. Jackson El Phoenix Marinez, 19-0, was supposed to have a fight in the Dominican Republic on a card promoted by Upper Promotions, but it sounds like the card fell through. That fight did not happen a week or two ago. There you see him in a picture with one of the brothers from Ireland. At the _Phoenix_21 if you want to follow him. He last fought in December. He was on the undercard of Gervonta Tank Davis versus Yuyurkis Gamboa, and he was primarily set in there as a fill-in. If one of the two did not make weight or one of the two failed to fulfill their contract, he'd fill in to save the date. So Jackson at Phoenix Marinez, he's been with Robert maybe about a year, maybe a year and a half. Carlos Caballo Bronco Adames, 18-1, 14 knockouts. He's back home in the Dominican Republic. At Caballo Bronco, if you want to follow him on Instagram. Joseph Adorno, 14-0 with 1 draw, 12 KOs. He struggled to make weight his last fight, and it was really tough on his body, and it showed in his performance. So he's ready. He was going to have a comeback fight right away in Puerto Rico, and then the coronavirus hit, so he's those fights have been postponed. At Real Joseph Adorno if you want to follow him on Instagram. John El Terrible Balsa, 13-0, 5 knockouts. We haven't heard from him. At Real John Balsa on Instagram if you want to follow him. Jesse Bam Rodriguez, 11-0, 7 knockouts. One of the most talented fighters out of RGBA. He's from San Antonio. He's a younger brother to Joshua Franco. His last fight was on the undercard of Mikey Garcia versus Jesse Vargas in Dallas, versus Marco Sustayita from Oceanside, California. If you want to follow him, he's at 210 BAM. He is promoted by Mr. Honda's Taken Promotions. Brandon Bulletproof Glanton is a cruiserweight, 11-0, 9 knockouts. He's a part of Team Mikey Garcia. If you want to follow him, at Team Bulletproof. If you want to follow him on Instagram. Lindolfo Delgado, 11-0, 11 knockouts. He is one of 2 fighters that are part of RGBA that are promoted by Richard Schaefer's Ringstar Sports. He was training at home in Linares, Nuevo León. If you want to follow him on Instagram, he's at Lindolfo Delgado. Misael Lucchino Rodriguez is the other fighter promoted by Richard Schaefer's Ringstar Sports. He fights at 160. He's 10-0. He lives locally there in Riverside. At Misael OTEE if you want to follow him on Instagram. Jose Ruben Rodriguez had surgery and is going to be recovering for 6 months. You can follow him at RubenNR_. He's from Indio. He's got 2 brothers that fight as well. Alfredo Scarcega from Phoenix, Arizona is scheduled to fight twice in this month. At AE.JR if you want to follow him on Instagram. Aaron Morales, 8-0, 3 knockouts. One of the most active fighters in 2018. I think he fought a total of 5 or 6 times. Very active in 2018. 2019 he fought 2 or 3 times. He's got a record of 8-0. So I think he fought 5 times in 2018 and 3 times in 2019. At Aaron_Morales if you want to follow him on Instagram. Evan Sanchez is signed to, he was a free agent the beginning prospect years of his career, and now he's signed to Golden Boy Promotions. He was on the undercard of that February 14th fight there in Anaheim, on the undercard of Ryan Garcia. At Real Evan Sanchez if you want to follow him on Instagram. Robert Biggie Rodriguez, 7-0 with 1 draw. His last fight he had a draw versus this fighter here in San Antonio. No, was it in San Antonio? I don't remember if it was in San Antonio or in Dallas. I believe it was in Dallas because Martinez was a home crowd favorite. At BiggieJR_ if you want to follow him on Instagram. Isidro IGO Ochoa, 7-1. He is a 118 fighter, I believe. He's out of the Central Valley RGBA. He's promoted and managed by Big Al Perez. At IGO_ Ochoa if you want to follow him. Brandon B-Fly Macias, 7-0 with 2 draws. At B_Fly 301. There you see him in a picture with Mikey and Ellie Setback doing an interview at the Garcia Promotions event there in September in San Bernardino. Ivan Garcia, 5-0. We have not seen him. He was scheduled to fight March 28th in Stockton, California. That's been postponed. At Ivan_Garcia if you want to follow him. Jeremy Magic Hands Adorno 4-0. His last date was canceled due to the coronavirus. So at Magic Hands_Jeremy if you want to follow him on Instagram. Gerardo Garcia goes by El Coyote. He's from Paris, California. He's 3-0. You can follow him at El Coyote_Garcia or at Gigi Rocks. Isaac Kaluga is a prospect fighter that suffered was the victim of a drive-by shooting. You can follow updates on him at Kerry Kalunga, at Shelly_Shell12, or at DodgerGirl19. And he's active on his Instagram at Team_Kalunga. Was 12-0-1. Please like and subscribe. I'm Sonteo Media on YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Instagram at Sonteo_media. Here's a picture of the team there on December 13th at Virgil Ortiz's fight in Indio, California. And then here's a picture of Mike. I believe this is Mikey's last fight there versus Jesse Vargas in Frisco, Texas.